Well, this video is starting a little earlier than expected. November 8th, 2025, and we just randomly had noises coming out, like literally where the driver's side was. And I looked under the car, and it is leaking oil. Everything is caked up. Can't really see much, but everything is caked. So I'm gonna call it tow truck. I don't know if I was literally on cruise control going 60 miles per hour. Like literally, I'm about to head into a city and it turned into 45. But yeah, I don't know if there's a hole in the block or if it sounded like similar to when I had destroyed the front drive shaft. So I don't know if it's the motor that blew up, oil pan. I literally did an oil change 2 days ago, so I don't know what it could be. I guess only one way to find out by pulling the motor. I was literally planning to pull the motor next week or within the next 2 weeks, and then this happens. So yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe, I don't know. Something popped off, and then it started making noises. So I don't know. Literally was going 60 or 75 on cruise control heading towards this city, and as soon as the speed limit changed to 60, I just pressed on the brakes, and it just kind of started making those noises out of nowhere. I was like, okay, let me pull over. But yeah.
Yep, that's what I was looking at.
Jeez.
Exactly, it blew up. I'm just confused.
All right, so back home, and that's a window. In the oil pan though, we're good. It's in the oil pan. That is the, what would you call that? Like it connects to the transfer case. No, trans is connected to the engine right there.
Trans ain't connected. The oil pan ain't connected to the transmission, is it?
No.
Should be.
But that's a big ass window. So it looks like the front drive shaft, which is that thing right there, the knuckle hub thing. I don't know how, but it hit that. And there's a big window. Huh.
That's weird. I don't know. Try to spin it. All the cars.
Let me see the window. The light on it. Other side. Right side. Jeez. Go left. Right there. No, right. Right there. Jeez.
It's bad. Is it bad?
It's pretty bad.
Is it really? Pull this off. That plastic.
Oh, bro, it's not even connected.
What is it?
Hello, everybody. You might be wondering why I haven't posted in a while. I wonder why too. No, but in all seriousness, the motor's out. What happened? The car broke. Kind of. You would have seen the intro for this video already, and kind of crazy that I was already planning to take this motor out in sometime in October, and there was an accident where the front drive shaft, probably because of my fault, because whenever I worked on the transfer case and everything, I didn't torque down the front drive shaft. Front drive shaft came loose. Regular driving. I promise you, I was driving 60 miles per hour. Actually, I was driving like 70. Touched the brakes to get off cruise control because I was about to enter a 60. And when I touched the brakes, I just started hearing. I was like, oh, what happened now? Pulled over immediately, turned the car off, looked under the car, oil everywhere, as you can see from the previous footage. That literally happened a week before I was already planning on pulling the motor out. So it just forced me to do things 1 week early. Like it even matters since we're all the way in March now, 1 week before Texas 2K. Here we are, motor's out. we're gonna do some crazy stuff. So, as you can see, this is the problem. We're looking straight, motor's right here. Front drive shaft is connected right here where the diff and the axles go through. So diff sits right here, passenger side axle, driver side axle, right? Simple. The drive shaft connects to the front diff right here. There's 4 bolts that connect it up, and 2 of them sheared off and 2 of them are missing. So I'm pretty sure 2 of them backed out and the other 2 sheared off. Why when I slightly touch the brakes? I have no idea. I ran my fastest 60 to 130, I guess, with this whole setup like this. So yeah, no pistons, no rods through the block. Surprisingly missed the, I don't know what sensor this is because the oil level sensor is down there, I think. But yeah, you can see the oil pump right there. Here's actually a piece of metal. Here's another one. I had to buy a whole new oil pan, OEM BMW, from a, I think this is a 5 Series. I forgot what it came out of. So this is X-Drive, so that's all that matters. E58 oil pan, same mounting locations, same everything. It's crazy how much metal it took out. I bought that all the way from the UK. I think I paid like 500 for that thing, and OEM they're like 1200 or 1000, something like that. So yeah, I'm not in a rush to get this thing built, but I am making this video today because we are actually planning to drop it off to a shop here in the next 24 hours. Today is Thursday, March 12th, because tomorrow's Friday the 13th. No, I'm not getting a tattoo tomorrow. My lady's booked up. I'm actually gonna take y'all inside and show y'all everything that's gonna get done to this. But first, let's take a quick little close-up and get a B-roll of this damage. All right, back inside. It's getting hot in Texas today, literally today. I'll try to see if I can get a screenshot. It was 41 degrees in the morning, and I think now it's like probably in the 75, 80s, which feels warm. We can handle hotter in Texas. But when we go up and down, allergies, up and down, like we went through a crazy wind storm last night. Wind was going crazy. Here we are today. Cold in the morning, literally wore pants and a whole hoodie, like too cold, and now it's hot. Like, I'm getting hot in this. So yeah, let's go ahead and break down everything that we're gonna put into this B58 to try to make all the power in the world. So first and foremost, to get this out of the way, we got Kelford cams, okay? GSC makes good products, Kelford makes great products. I just went with a stage 2 cam. I'm not an NA guy, so I don't know what the heck lift and duration and all that crap, whatever. This is part number KE, okay, nobody cares. Yeah, it's a stage 2 cam. I don't think this requires a cam lockout, but this is specific for a Gen 1.5 B58. I believe the only differences in that is how it bolts up to the timing chain head bobber. I don't know too much about heads, but this should allow for more airflow, valve, this and that, whatever. Let's go ahead and do a price breakdown also. I'll have it up here on this white wall. Next, we have some ARP 2000 main studs. Don't really need 625s for these, so ARP 2000. Plus, they don't make 625 unless I'm pretty sure you call them and get it custom made, blah, blah. All that stuff. ARP, this makes it a little bit presentable. ARP 2000 main studs. Up next, we have a bunch of parts from Titan. Let me grab all of them real quick. 5 things, all right? Yes, they are all ARP 2000, I believe. This single bolt one, this is the oil pump bolt. Goes on the oil pump. I believe it's for the sprocket that keeps the chain on. I'm pretty sure these are also all one-time use parts OEM, so it's just better to use ARP anyways. This is the dampener bolt to the crank, I believe. 4 of them, so I believe it's the crank bolts. Goes on a dampener, puts it on the crank, keeps it tight. So I heard a lot of people will shear those bolts off OEM. Next, 20 bolts This is the this is the oil pump girdle. So underneath the B58, you know, obviously you take the oil pan off. First thing you'll see besides the oil pump is the girdle, which, you know, not only keeps the oil, you know, flash, this and that, whatever. It also acts as a strength to the block because it ties it all together. These are going to be very important for the strength of the block. These are the flex plate bolts, which is between the converter and the crank. Basically connects the crank to the converter essentially. 8 of these, pretty sure. I don't know if they're reusable in the OEM ones. Probably not, shouldn't be, but we're pushing power, so might as well replace it while we're there. And then lastly, don't know what this is. So we got the girdle, we got the oil pump, the timing chain cover. These are also one-time use OEM. So I got these, so that's 5 ARP things, probably worth more than my RSX. Up next, we are moving into the head. So here we have 24 keepers and 24 keepers. This one I wrote intake and exhaust because they have different part numbers. I don't know why. They look so identical, but the intake ones do look a little bit smaller and the exhaust ones look a little bit bigger. This is like $200, maybe like $100 in keepers. They're like $2, $3 a piece, but you gotta buy 24 just for the intake side and 24 for the exhaust side. It adds up. Price here, GSC, what are these? Seals for the intake and exhaust. I think they call these like Viton. They're made out of Viton or whatever seals. I don't know. Again, head stuff, not too educated on that. So here are valve guides with stopper, whatever that means. Here is the exhaust side. This is the, hold on. Again, exhaust side. This is the Beehive spring and titanium retainer kit. Springs and retainers in this box. My bad, my bad, my bad, my bad. That's the best you're gonna get, all right? So yeah, standard, what the heck is this? I'm gonna guess these are valves, exhaust valves. It says EX on it, sure. Intake valves, sick. Yeah, here it is, intake valves from GSC. So all the head components besides the cam are going to be GSC and OEM stuff. There is all the head stuff. Next, pretty important stuff, main and rod bearings. Might be switching these out. So we went with ACL, main bearings? ACL, I think these are main bearings made in Israel. Someone's gonna have to do some research on King rod bearings. I think these are rod bearings. I think these are main bearings. Might be switching them up because we're not sure about the clearances on the rod and main and crank and all that stuff, because might be going with a extra clearance bearing. Not sure yet. Depends on, you know, the builder and everything, what they like, what they've seen from the platform. Next fun stuff, OEM, BMW, main, and rear main and front main seals. Need that when you're building a motor. Might as well replace it right in there. I don't know why you would reuse a gasket like this or a seal. Here are a bunch of OEM gaskets. This is a kit, an OEM BMW gasket kit for the valve cover. So here's the coil plug. This is the perimeter gasket, and then the high pressure fuel pump gasket, which I did not know they included. It's sick. Next, pretty penny for these bangles. So we got 6 Firelock rings from RK AutoWorks. Still also trying to figure out how this setup works, because, you know, obviously got a machine into the block. Pick your head gasket. We're gonna go with an OEM BMW head gasket. I'm not going with Cometic or all this stuff. BMW OEM gasket seems to be the trick until you go past like 1400-ish probably. So, OEM BMW gasket paired with RK AutoWorks Firelock rings, which are very expensive for machine rings, but I get it, precision machining. Hopefully this keeps all the compression within the cylinders. And last but not least, pretty parts. I'm trying to figure out where are the exhaust. Yeah, so we went with CP pistons. These are a custom set because, you know, originally I had ordered a 11-to-1 compression. I do want to try things out, try different things. Some people have tried it, some people said it's not the move. Some people, you know, will always stand by the traditional method of lower compression, more boost. So we went with 10.25-to-1, not like we dropped down to a 9-to-1. It's, you know, B58. All the nerds can fight in the comments, blah, blah. But we did go with a custom set that did drop compression to a 10.25 or 10.3-to-1. My builder will have all the specs on this piece of paper. So obviously we have all of the rings that go on the pistons. And then I will get up close and personal for this. My goodness. This piston is dual coated, as you can see. Got the skirt coating and then the dome coating, which is like a bronzish color. That is a very pretty and an expensive piece of machining, production, I don't know. Expensive and beautiful nonetheless. And with this set, we did get the high definition wrist pins, because that is very necessary for anyone looking to push above 900, 1,000. I don't know, always better to beef it up while you're there. Not worth trying to save, what, 300 bucks? Because we're trying to bulletproof this motor so we can go fast. CP pistons, right here. And then last but not least, which honestly this should have been last. Again, another different method or avenue we're going down, boost line rods. So if you know about, you know, rods and pistons and stuff, you would know that these boost line, you know, they're I-beam rods instead of H-beam, which, you know, H-beam probably a lighter solution, but I kind of like the idea of having a little bit more strength behind the rods, just because it's a heavier car. You know, you get a lighter car, you can move it a lot quicker. I don't know, you could argue that this probably puts more stress on the drivetrain. I don't know. I'm kind of doing things based on how I feel and what I've seen. You know, people have made this system work, or this solution, this product work. I-beam. So how could I show this to y'all? Because it's pretty cool. So these do also have, I think, a 625 or ARP 2000 rod bolts. So let me go ahead and show y'all. It's gonna be a bit difficult. If we say right here, if we see it right here, okay, come on, let's cooperate now. Okay, there we go. So there we go. There are the boost line rods. Again, it's still a very strong solution. Scream at me in the comments if you think I should have gone with H-beam just because lighter, you know, it's been proven, everyone's this and that. If you're gonna go for crazy power and you want to push an H-beam setup, definitely IRP, Italian Rods and Pistons, they make some crazy good products. I didn't know about them whenever I bought everything, which I should have done more research on, but I feel like this is you know, a pretty good build list. And you might be wondering, where are your head studs? We're going with a different solution. I sold my 625 head studs to my homie Keaton for an absolute steal. They're like $800 brand new. And you know, he's my guy. So I sold it to him for like 500 bucks, brand new, still in the saran wrap, shrink wrap. Because he needed help, so I'm like, you know what, you can take it for $500. I paid $800 for them, probably more. But yeah, all the prices should be up here. This isn't cheap, so if you could subscribe and like, don't know if it'll add any value to my income on YouTube. But you know, I'm hoping this is something different that a lot of people don't see. Usually, you'll see people build the motors, not document anything. Maybe they'll get the clip of you putting the head on, or somebody putting the head on. And I want to document as much as I can, show you the intricacies inside and out. The builder is about 2 to 2.5 hours away from where I live, but you know, I'll try to work something out to where I can go down on a weekend or something when he's working on a lot of the meats and potatoes. I'm not even that what. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna have to finish on my phone. But like I was saying, I'm gonna try my best to record everything when it comes to building the motor, give you guys advice and tips on small things. Like, I know with boost line rods, since it's not the typical H-beam, that there is some clearancing on the block that's gonna have to be done internally. Machining, clearances, you know, which bearing we end up going with, whether it be the ones I bought with standard clearance or a, you know, extra clearance bearing, you know, and all the other nooks and crannies and troubles and stuff that we might come across. So yeah, we're gonna build a really, really cool X3 M40i. Not an X3M, because there's a couple of fast ones, but I want to build a fast X3 in general, whether it be an M car or not. This is where we are. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed kind of seeing this video, and hopefully I can kind of post consistently with all this going on. It is gonna take me, you know, time and gas money and editing and all this stuff. I have a whole lot of stuff going on. Wrapping is, you know, up and down, you know, I'll get customers here and there, whatever. You know, that's my main source of income, but I am busy with Kingdom FC, which is a soccer team that I co-founded with my teammate, one of my close friends. And then I also do a bunch of other stuff, you know, just staying busy, just trying to stay unemployed, you know? Hope you guys have a great one. And, you know, I don't know how I close YouTube videos anymore.